I repeat, inbound email service. If anyone is trying to send email from external system to Salesforce, we call it as inbound email services. If you want to handle the email which is sent from the external system to the Salesforce, then Apex class has to implement an interface called Apex class has to implement an interface called messaging.inbound email handler. What is the interface it has to implement? Messaging dot handle inbound email. If a class want to handle the email which is sent from the external system, if a class want to handle the email which is sent from the external system, then we are supposed to go with implementing a interface called messaging.inbound email handler. Now it's a common rule that when a class implement any interface, every method that is defined in the interface has to be every method that is defined every method that is given in the interface has to be implemented by the class. So what is the method that is given in the interface? Let me give you here. The first rule I told you, if a class want to handle the email, if the class want to handle the email, messaging.inbound email handler. If a class want to handle the email what is sent, if somebody is sending an email to me, with the help of that email I want to create a lead. When you are sending an email to me, with the help of that email I want to create a case. When you are sending an email to me, with the help of that email I want to delete a record. So what we are trying to do, if you want to perform any action based on the email what we received, if we want to perform any action based on the email what I received, then I have to define an Apex class. And that Apex class has to implement an interface called inbound email handler. That Apex class has to implement an interface called inbound email handler. Okay, let us give the next. If a class is implementing this interface, then define public inbound email result handle inbound email So what was this? If a class is implementing this interface, it has to define a method called handle inbound email. If a class is implementing an interface, it has to define a method called handle inbound email. So in this, whatever the mail that is coming from external system to Salesforce, whatever the mail we are getting from the external system to the Salesforce, that is given as messaging.email. Messaging.inbound email. The mail what we received from the external system. From external system you are sending an email. The mail what you are sending, that mail is received and saved in messaging.inbound email. So in the messaging.inbound email what we have? The email what we received. When I say the email what we received, what will be there in this? To address, from address, to address, from address, then subject, body, everything. Like when you are sending the email, whatever the details you are setting, Similarly, when you are receiving the email, when you receive the email, whatever the data they have sent, the data will be in messaging.inbound email. Now that messaging.inbound email will have what? It will have to address, BCC address, subject, plain text body, attachments, everything will be there. Okay. Now, what is that messaging.envelope? It will contain to address and from address. In the envelope cover, what will be there? In the envelope, what will be there? On the top of the envelope, address will be there. From whom and to whom. Okay. So, what are the two classes we have? Messaging.inbound email. This is the mail what we received. Messaging.inbound envelope. This is the to address and from address. Then, once I receive the email, I am going to run my logic. When I am running the logic, then the logic may execute successfully or may not execute successfully. If the email what I received, if it is processed successfully, then inbound email result will be success. Inbound email result dot success is true if the email what I received is handled successfully. So what will be there in messaging dot inbound email result? Status, whether the email is handled properly or not. Right? Are you getting my point? So what are the three classes involved here? What are three classes? Inbound email. This class contain what will be there in that inbound email? This will contain the mail what you have sent. Envelope contains what? To address and from address. Email result will contain what? Status, whether the email is handled successfully or not. So let me give you a basic example here. Based on the email what I received, I want to create a case. I'm giving try. So I told now we have messaging dot inbound email result. If it is handled successfully, then it is true, otherwise false. This is the basic structure. Now what I want to do, string from address equal to email dot from address. From whom did we receive this email? Based on this from address, I want to write a query to find out the contact based on whom we received. I received an email. From whom did you receive the email? Based on that email address, find out the contact. From whom did you receive the email? Based on the email address, find out the contact. Then create a case. What did I do in this case? You received an email. Email dot from address. Email dot subject. Email dot description. Right. Now what I'm trying to do? What I'm trying to do? Based on the data what we received in the email. Based on the data what we received in the email. Based on the data what I received in the email, I am trying to create a case using the email subject, email body, email from address. Using this data, I am trying to create a case. When you are sending an email to me, based on that email, I am identifying the person who you are. Then I am trying to write a okay. Then I am trying to create a case. Insert the case. If the case was created successfully, it's a true. Otherwise, false. Are you getting my point here? Whatever the email you have sent to me, based on that email, I am finding out that from address who sent me this email. Then check is there any contact with the same data or not. If there is any contact with the same data, then create a case for the contact. If there is no contact, it will come to catch. We are going to throw error message. I hope you are good, right? I hope you are good with this. Now I sent a mail. I am not a registered user. Then obviously what happened? Operation will not run. It will go through catch. It will go to catch. Now you are a registered user. Then on your name, based on the data what you sent in the email, like your subject, your body, a case will be created. Right. But the question here is, to which email address I have to send? Now the other people will be sending email to you. To which email address they have to send? Unless you give me the email address, how can I send my mail? If I want to send an email to you, you are supposed to give the email address. Without giving the email address, how will you send the email? So we need to understand how to generate a email address for the application. How to generate a email address for the application. For this, what we do, set up, build, create, build, develop email services, email services, new email service, then choose the Apex class, then accept the email from where, active, save and generate the email address. Right. Save and generate the email address. Now, they gave me one email address. This is the email address to which the customer has to send a mail. If I give this address, what will happen was, customer will slapping. What I was supposed to give this address to your network administrator. He will configure this email address with your company mail ID. So you'll give support at the rate of ICICI.com. Okay, like when a customer send an email to that will be forwarded to this. Right. So it will append this with the company email ID. So we give company email ID to customer. When you send a mail to that, it will be redirected to this. It will be redirected to this. Okay. Now let me test it. I'm giving some message. So your networking issue or whatever it is, you give the description of it. I have sent an email. Then go to cases. Hardware issue. Details. Whatever the body I gave is a description. Whatever the subject I gave, in the email, whatever the subject I gave, that is the subject for this. Created by whom? Created by KL. Who is this KL? He is having the email ID from where I have sent the email. Now he has a Salesforce batch 300 at the rate of Gmail ID. There is a customer, there is a contact in the organization whose email ID is Salesforce batch 300. I found out that contact. On his name, the case was created. Are you getting my point here? Have you followed this? Right? So what was this? Basically, this is a regular operation only. This is a DML operation. I have not made something new. It is a DML operation. In this DML operation, what I have done? Created case for a contact. Created a case for a contact. How did you get the contact ID? Based on the from address. When you received an email, from which email ID you have received this email, based on that from address, I found out the contact. Then when I am creating a contact, okay, case, what is the data I require? The data what I require, subject, description, this I am getting from the email what we receive. Email dot subject and email dot plain text body. Based on the email body, based on the email subject, based on the email from address, I have created a case. Have the people followed this? People followed this, right? Or if people are clear with this? Now, if any email is coming from external system, you want to handle it, then that we need to define an Apex class to handle this. You are getting an email from external system. You are getting an email from external system. You are getting an email from external system, and you want to handle it. Then we need to define an Apex class. When you are trying to define an Apex class, then if you are trying to define an Apex class, then the class has to implement messaging dot inbound email handler. The class has to implement messaging dot inbound email handler. The class has to implement messaging dot inbound email handler. When a class is implementing messaging dot inbound email handler, then it has to define a method called handle inbound email. When you are defining a method called handle inbound email, then it has to have three parameters. One is inbound email, another one is inbound envelope. Result type is inbound email result. Email what I received, it is in inbound email. The from address and to address separately again they are sending. In the email I will have from and to address also, but again separately the address they are giving in the inbound email. Then email result will have status. It has only one value called success. If the success equal to true, then email is handled successfully. If success equal to false, it is not handled successfully. I hope you are good with this, right? Then now the way we are sending an email with attachment, similarly when somebody is sending email to you, they will also send attachment. When you are sending an email with attachment, while receiving also They will send an email with attachment. Now, if they are sending an email with attachment, how do you take that attachments? When you send in the last class, when you are sending email, we have attached some documents and sent. Similarly, while we are receiving also, we may receive the email with a document. Let us say, I want to raise a case. Now I'm also affixing my invoice copy and I am giving my issue with the screenshot of the issue. Now some customer is raising a case and he's sending a invoice copy of this. Now what happened? What are the screenshots he is sending? I want to take the screenshot and append to the case. So if you are sending any documents to the email, how do you handle those documents? There is a question mark. Did you understand my requirement? When I am sending an email, you have attached a email file attachments. Similarly, while somebody is sending an email to you, they will also append the attachments. Now, how do you handle this? How do you handle this? How do you handle this? This we need to understand. For this, let us see. So first, let us look at this format here. We need to understand few topics here. Listen carefully. When you go to account, what do you find here? Notes and attachments. We are finding notes and attachments. Here, notes is an object, attachment is also an object. Notes is an object, attachment is also a object. Notes, attachment. How do you attach a file? When you want to attach a file, it is asking, choose the name of the file. Done. So name of the file, body of the file, to which record you are going to attach. Attachment is associated with any one of the record. For this record, this is the attachment. For this record, this is the attachment. Now we need to give here. Look at the point. So how do you go for attachment? We have a standard object called attachment. Attachment object in the Salesforce. Let us see what fields are there. Because when you receive an email with attachment, you have seen that attachment, okay. But where will you save that attachment? It has to be saved to some object or record. Now, I want to see body of the attachment, content type. Yesterday, somebody asked me, how do you define the content types? How do you know the content type? Somebody asked me a question. Yesterday, when I'm inserting the outbound email, I have taken document, document name, body I have taken. They ask me, how do I specify the content type? Right, this is the attribute content type. And at the same time, somebody has asked me, boss, how do you send the size of the file is more than 5 MB? Now that I told you need to compress, save to the document, that you need to pull it. Programmatically, do you have any extension, any way of compressing the file? Okay, I told programmatically it is not possible for you to compress it. You need to compress your file, which is more than 5 MB, store to your document, fetch it out. You cannot programmatically do that compression. I told you, even if you want to join a couple of files, we need to put in a folder. Programmatically, we cannot do that. Okay. Now, look at this. Look at the files. Now, what was the other formats here? Name of the file, parent type. So, for which record you want to attach? What is the name of the file? Then we have content type, body, body, name, parent ID. These are the main. Using this, what we can do? We can attach a document. Now, first I'll give an example for you. How you create a attachment first, then we get into the conceptual. Okay. Now, what I was doing, try to understand how I'm creating an attachment. I fetched account. I'm trying to create attachment. A dot parent ID. This attachment created for that record. Then I have some file. A dot body equal to. Now we have, is it a readable file or writable field? Is it a readable field or a writable field? The content type, is it a readable file or a writable file? Now we said content type. Can I set it externally while inserting the data, or it is automatically set, only we can use it? The question is, can you set the content type as you like, or automatically it's taken from the body of the document which I have given? Inserting. I have given this. Go back to this. Scroll down. What was that? Notice an attachment. Attachment was given. Next. No, you are able to view the file what I have attached. Properties. What is the property of the file? This is testing. Right. Now let us go and write a query. What did I do? I wrote a DML operation to insert the record. Now I am fetching the data. It should highlight it. This is the format what I have given, right? Now, when you are setting the attachment yesterday, somebody has asked me, I also want to set the extension based on the file. You can use this. In the outbound email program, yesterday when I gave, I directly gave .pdf. Now, instead of that, name plus content type. Name plus content type will give me the same. Whatever the content type of the file is there, the same thing we can apply it. Right? So, what we are doing? We are writing a DML operation to insert the record. What was the object? Attachment. No, I want to create like a document, then create document dot a dot body, a dot name, a dot content type. It is an attachment object, so I gave a dot parent ID, a dot name, a dot content type. If it is a document object, document dot name, document dot body, document dot content type, insert the data. I hope you are good with this. Now, this is the insertion what we are making. But how the data is coming? Data is coming to you from the email. Data is coming to you from the email. What type of attachments I may receive? It can be a text file. It can be a binary file. It can be a text file. It can be a binary. Now, when you go for a PDF, when you go for an image, generally it is what? Binary file. Okay. You may receive in the form of text. You may receive in the form of binary. So, generally what we do, when you receive the files in the form of text or anything, I will convert it into binary and use it. So that one format, if I take it, I can write a single program. Now, what was that? You send any type of file, I will convert it into binary and use it. Now, how are we getting the attachments? Look at the concept again. So, we have seen attachment object. Similarly, we have inbound email class. What was that inbound email class? In this, these are the normal properties. CC address, from name, header, HTML body, all this is common. What is extra is binary attachment, text attachment. Now I am taking what? Binary attachment. Now, binary attachment. Whatever the attachments you are sending, I am taking them like a binary attachment. Whatever the attachments you are taking, I am taking them like a binary attachment. Inbound email dot 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 binary attachment. So when you go to this binary attachment, what we are finding? Body of the attachment, file name, header, type, same content type. Okay. Body, file name, headers, and type. So let us see this. Implement this. Public. Inbound email result. Handle inbound email. Inbound email. So what we have? Messaging dot inbound email. Messaging dot inbound email envelope. This is a basic structure. The same story I am writing. What was the story? Messaging dot inbound email result. Inbound email result. Right. So what is the primary thing we need to do? Find out the contact based on the from address. Then we had C dot subject, email dot subject, C dot priority. What else we can give? This is common insert case. Now I need to get attachments. I also want to create attachments for this. How do you get the attachments? Messaging dot inbound email dot binary attachment, binary attachments, files equal to email dot binary attachments. What was that? Fetch all the binary attachments. Email. Once you fetch all the binary attachments, take one by one attachment. I'm not sure how many attachments we received. Messaging dot inbound take the attachments. Now, based on the binary attachments what you received, I want to create documents. Because it's a loop, I'm not sure how many attachments I'm going to create. So I have created. So create a dot parent ID equal to the case ID. A dot body equal to attachment body. A dot body equal to or a dot name equal to whatever the binary attachment we received dot file name. Content type equal to that b dot MIME type. Let me clarify this once again. So we are getting header data, which is again in the form of where was the header data for us? Okay. We are getting the header data, which is coming in the form of list. From the header data, we need to take content type, content transfer, content encoding, content ID. These four we are going to get. We need to take the value and set the in the headers. We are going to get content type, content transfer, all this information. In case you want to take, we can set it here. In case you want to take, you can set it here. Okay. I don't want to do the heading. Now I'm attaching to the file. Then I'm saying insert. Now people need to understand this. What did I do? Whatever the attachments I received, they are in the form of binary attachments. Email not binary attachment. Attachment can be 0, attachment can be 1 or 10 or 20. We are not sure how many attachments are there. So I have taken a list, I wrote a for loop. I have taken a list and I wrote a for loop. In the for loop, one by one attachment I am taking. Every attachment will have body and name. So your binary file name, binary file body. Attachment name equal to binary file name. Attachment body equal to binary file body. Then add the list we are trying to insert. Why I am taking a loop? Because I am not sure how many attachments you are going to get. I am not sure how many binary attachments are added. It may be 1 file or 2 file or 10 files. That is the reason I have taken a list and a loop. People have followed this. When you say binary attachment, how many attachments you have given in the email? I am not sure. It can be 1 or 10. That is the reason I am going for a loop, taking every attachment, converting them into your attachment for the case. Okay. Now, the question here is, previously we have created one address. Previously, I have created one address. Is that address is sufficient? Build, develop email service. For every email service, for every Apex class, we need to create a separate email address. Because if we send an email to that email address, the email will be sent to this Apex class. Every service you define, you should define separate email services. Let us go back again. Now I'm saying, do you want to accept the attachments? I told I'll do one thing, I'll create a new one so that you also get practiced. New email service. To which class you want to send? Choose the class. If you receive the email, to which class you want to send? Do you want to accept the binary, accept the attachment? Text or binary or all? I told all. When you say all, you will be receiving text file as well as binary file. But your program, what you wrote is for binary files. That's why I'm saying, convert the text file into, from which email ID you want to accept the email. Now customer will not be sending me the direct email. I told you, I cannot give a lengthy address. Customer will not be send the direct email. So customer will send it to the company email. From there it will be navigated to me. Now I will be giving my email address. I gave here. So what I will do, info@icc.com, support@icc.com, customer care@icc.com, help@icc.com. Some email IDs I will be giving. That email IDs I will give. Customer will send an email to that. From that email address, we will receive the email to the Salesforce. In case any failure, limit crossed, invalid email address, your email address is not accepted, then what should I do? Discard, leave it, requeue, resend it, bounce back, send back the error message. Then what we are doing? Save and new email address. When I save, I received an email address here. I guess some issues here. Go to this. Not created it. Sorry. Go back. I was supposed to. So we'll be receiving. Let's wait for the issue. There's some issue with the code.
Satish, I think from address we have not taken, Satish.
Yes. I'm not mentioning it. Yeah. Some data I'm giving it. What are the description you want to give? Go to the cases. Let me wait for a minute. Cross check, is it delayed operation or so? What did I do? From address, find out the contact, case, subject, priority normal, origin email, status new, description, plain text body, contact ID equal to C1.id. Insert the case. Case is done. Then attachment parent ID, body, attachment name.
Sir, is it so that we are taking the data from the external source and we have defined the classes in public? That's why it's not working.
It has nothing to do. Let me wait. Maybe a delayed operation. Let me cross check. First, let me fix the issues. I'll check out the things clearly. First issue, how many records are there with the same ID? There are only three possibilities for occurrence of error. Let me fix it. First, the same with the same email ID, how many records are there? Is there any duplicate records? Only one record. First issue is resolved. Second issue is that email service is active or not. It is inactive. So obviously mail will not be created. We have not activated the service actually. In the email program, the possibility of errors are very limited. One is with respect to the number of email addresses what we are getting. If there are more than one record which we are getting, there is ambiguity. There is one error. Second error, the email service activation or email address. Now we received here. So what was the previous issue? Email service was inactive previously. That's why you are not unable to create. Now we got here optiflow.png. So what was the error? Service was inactive. What is the third possible error? Accept email from email address. The email from which I am sending the email, that way is not within this list. Then also it is error. So there are only three possible errors. One is DML failure. DML failure. Second one is inactive. Third one is my email address is not within the range of accepted. Only these three possible errors are here. I hope you are good with this. Right, boss?
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
For example, what you have done is, if the contact address is there, you are trying to append it with the contact address, right? If the contact address is not there, what happens? How to handle it?
Now, I wrote a try catch. The try catch what we are doing now. If the contact is not there, CON will be what? A null.
Null.
Then obviously it goes to what? The catch, because the DML is going to fail. It comes to a catch. What are the mechanism right in the catch that will happen?
Okay.
Okay. Or else you can, well in advance, you can write a query and find out scan is not equal to null. Then only process it. If it is equal to null, send an email to the customer. Boss, only registered customer can, create a case from the email. Now you are trying to log into a case. Now your email address may be there in my organization, but as per your organization service agreement, you are not entitled to email service. Now let us say it is in the case management, as per your SLA, you are only provided a support through telephonical, no email support is given to you. Then I want to check out, contact a phone, I will go to SLA, find out are you entitled to the service or not entitled to the service. Again I will send an email, boss, you're not entitled to the service through email. Now how you handle is your choice. The business logic will change as per your requirement. Now I told the email is received, how to capture the data from the email we have done. With the data what we do is our requirement. Like he asked me, what if the email address is not there? Then I want to send an email, response mail, only registered customer can send. No, I want to just throw one error message. I want to discard it. I don't want to give any response. Boss, simply say it is not going to create a record. Now email address is there. Email address is there, but as per my company, SLA is only primary contact can create a case. Other people cannot create a case. Now you are not in the primary contact. You are there, but you are not a primary contact. Then what I will do? Again I will send. So how you want to handle is your business requirement. Got my point? Now once the email is not there, you want to send a response mail or you want to discard it. It is up to your choice. It is up to your choice. I hope you got my point.
Got it, sir.
Yeah.
Got it, sir. Sir, one more thing, if it is a non-registered user, we can assign it to one common account and then we can say these are all non-registered users, right? Like,
see,
in certain companies, they they want people to send emails, right?
Now the issue is email is only a primary data for the case. The complete requirement will not be answered on the email. Generally, what will be the case level requirement? You send an email to us, case will be assigned to somebody. We will call you to get the rest of the information. Now, if you say when email is received from the non-registered address, you want to assign a specific team to find out more, yes, that can be done. That can be done. Okay. Now, if your organization says, boss, if you are sending any email from a non-registered email, I have a team to communicate with you and get the remaining data. Yes, I can do that. Okay. That's again your business. Again, it's a business. Now you are creating this. You are creating a case record. It is not associated with any one of the contact. If it is not associated with any one of the contact, assign to a separate queue. Now we have a queues, right? So what we are doing,
Hmm.
if a contact is available, okay, assign to the corresponding based on the region, assign to particular, okay, team for handling it. If there is no contact available, right, then assign them to another team, okay, resolving team, okay, who will make a call to the customer and find out the remaining data. That's all is your business functionality. How you implement is your business functionality. I
Right.
hope you are good with this.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you.
Now,
Uh,
so
can I just quickly ask one question? It's
yeah,
yes or no. In the same, the Apex class where we are having the inbound messages, if can we also kind of send the communication back to the customer as in the outbound
now
email?
the point here is it is a class. It is a class. What all that we can do in the class is available. It is a class basically. Now, because you implemented an interface, it is handling the email. But basically, what was this? It is a class. What all that are allowed in the class is also allowed in this. Now, apart from the class, it is getting some extra property of handling the email what we receive. But basically, what is this? It is a class. In the class, can you make a SQL? Yes. We can also write a SQL. In the class, we can make a DML. Yes, we can make a DML. In the class, I can call a batch box. Yes. In the class, I can write a outbound program. Yes. In the class, I can write an inbound program. Yes. Whatever that is possible with the class, that is also possible here. It is not an exempted. It is a class plus interface, implementing interface. So the basic functionalities that can be implemented in the class is also implemented here. Like she has a question now. She says, can we send outbound mail here? In the same class, can we send outbound mail? Why not? It is also a class. It is also a class. In the class, when you are able to send outbound, here also will be able to send outbound. Just to answer to the previous question, what he has asked, some other guy has asked me a question. Now it is not a registered customer. Now I told you, if it is not a registered customer, come to catch. In the catch, I will be sending a mail. Boss, you are supposed to raise a case only from registered email address. How will I communicate back? Obviously, I have to send outbound message. You are a customer sending an email to me. Now your email address is not within my organization. Then obviously I will say I cannot create a case. I have to send back a response to the customer. Boss, we cannot register your case. Okay, only send an email from registered email address. So how do I communicate back? Obviously, it is outbound message. Right? Where will I write this? In the catch. Why in the catch? If CON is null, obviously the try will fail. When the try fail, come to the catch and say, boss, you are supposed to send an email from registered email address. It's one of the use case I told. Right, boss? So what was this? Can I make a outbound message here? Can I make an outbound message from this class? Yes. Can I make a DML? Yes. Can I call a batch box? Yes. Can I call a feature method? Yes. Can I call a web service? Yes. Everything that is allowed in the class is also allowed here. When you implement the interface, only that extra functionalities will come along with the basic functionalities. I hope you are good with this. Okay. Right? In the future also, we'll be using batchfx. There also I'll be implementing interface. Okay. There also will be implementing a batch class implements a batchfx. Any class implementing an interface, first it is a class. Next question. Can I have a constructor in this class? Why not? A class will have a constructor. So if you want to do any initialization, we can also write a constructor here. Can I create a variables in this class? Yes, why not? It is one of the method. Apart from this method, any other data you want to define, any other functionalities you want to define, very well we can define. But the point is, we need to create an object and use it. Are you getting? This handle inbound email program is automatically invoked. If you write any other method, we have to call it. It is a class in which we can write a constructor, method, variables. But now, because it is implementing this interface, when we send an email, automatically handle inbound email program functionality will be automatically called. If I write any other method, like I am giving here, because the same questions will be coming here down in the batch effects and schedule effects. Okay, so let us understand here itself. is a class. I can create n number of methods. Right. Next, it is a class. We can also have constructor also. It is a class. We can also have data members. But the point here is, handle inbound email is automatically called when we receive an email. But these methods will not be automatically called. If I want to use this method, what should I do? Create a object for the class, object.show, object.create, object.name, object.show. Okay. So when a class is implementing any interface to make it as an inbound, to make it as a batch apex, to make it as a schedule apex, to make it as a plugin, it is gaining some extra functionalities, but the core functionalities will remain the same, like a class, data members, method, constructor, right? Then whatever that is allowed in the class within a method is also allowed here. I hope you got my point, right? So basically, what was this? It is a class. So whatever it is allowing in the regular functionality, we can also available. Now the second is, what was this handle inbound email? It is a method. Whatever the method is supporting in the regular class, here also it will support. It is just a method. The logic, what you want to write is your business requirement. It is simply a method. When a class implements an interface, the method name should be same, parameter should be same. The logic in the method is up to your choice. So whatever a regular transaction will support, everything is supported by the method. So remember this point. We are going to have the same, same point of view in terms of batch apex, schedule apex, plugin. There also we implement class. Now other question: can a class implement inbound email, batch apex, schedule apex, plugin, all of them in a single class? Yes. At the end we will see implementing everything in a single class: inbound email, batch apex, schedule apex, plugin, all together in a single functionality. Right? Basically, it is a class plus extra functionality. I hope you are good with this. Right. Am I clear with this? Somebody has asked me a question. Right. Any other queries from your end?
Yeah, thank you.
Any other queries? Right. So that's all for the inbound email, and we'll be starting asynchronous operation tomorrow.